Hello class, my name is Samuel Akumbong Tombwen and I'm a master's student in the College of Science, Engineering and Technology in the Grand Canyon University. The title of this course is CYB 6100-0500, which is Penetration Testing and Risk Management. Our instructor is Dr. Howard Goodman and I started its assignment yesterday, July 23rd, 2024, and I'm concluding today, the 24th of July. So let's jump right straight into it. So the first screenshot you see here is me launching my Kali Linux in my virtual VMware workstation. So this is a screenshot to test that my Kali Linux has internet connection. And you can see right there on the screen, the IP address is 192.168.8130, which is different from my host IP address. And of course, I'm using VMware workstation. So it will be different if you're using say VirtualBox. But let's go to the next slide anyway. So the next slide is shows me trying to launch one of the tools that I will use in this assignment, which is called Martego. So Martego is a tool that is used to gather information about a target when you're carrying out a pen test. Unfortunately, at this stage, Martego was not installed in my Kali Linux, so I went on to do the installation and the launching of Martego. Then the next slide shows the setup and the creation of an account in Martego. This is just a follow along stage and then installation of plugins. These are plugins that will help in giving you more information about your target when you're trying to get information on them. So the next slide shows how I'm creating my first graph in Martego. So you just have to click on the yellow icon. Now it looks white because my cursor was pointing at it. It should be yellow, and then you click on new to get you a new graph. It looks like this in the next slide. So in the next slide, I've done the research already on the Fortune 500 company that I want to do a pen test on, and the company is Walmart, and I have had the target of a C-suite worker in that company, which is Recon. So right here, what I did was I pulled in the domain option in Martego, and right click on that to search for persons working for Walmart. And in the next slide, you will see that I had some hits. I actually had 12 entities. And behold, I have Rian Norris. That is the target that I did the research on, that I'm trying to gather information about. Let me pause here for a moment and make you understand the section, this section of cyber security operation. So this section is actually called, this is open source intelligence, and this is actually passive reconnaissance. So passive reconnaissance means the gathering of information about a target that will be used for penetration testing without the target knowing that you're gathering any information about them. So you just gather information without triggering anything. Say, for example, you can read a newspaper about a target. You can you can Google information about a company, and it doesn't trigger anybody in the company or the particular target that you are getting information about them, as opposed to active reconnaissance, which is actually gathering information that might trigger or alert the target that you're gathering such information, such as calling the company or calling the target him or herself to get this information. So this right here is passive reconnaissance. Let's carry on. So the next slide you see here is the email search that I did on Rian Norris, who is my target that works for Walmart. So while in Martego, I right click on the person that I got from the previous search and then chose to search email. And then it gave me 12 possible emails for Rian Norris. I actually pointed two of them that had the domain of Walmart, and I think those are the good ones. So I also used a website called OSINT Framework. So OSINT framework is like a search engine which has so many other search engines, for lack of better way to explain it. And why using this, I realized that most of the tools, or most of the engines that it uses, require you to pay some to get some kind of registration in order to get the information you're searching. But here I use that's them to look up Ryan Norris's email address. And there you see in the next slide, I got this email address, but it needs a registration to unlock it and get more information about Ryan Norris. So I left that there and went back into Martego. And here I did a document document search related to Ryan Norris, and it pulled out 12 documents from the cloud. I went through this document and I found one that I was really interested in. I pulled it out, which comes up in the next slide. It's a document that was sent into the Walmart Corporation about an appeal. Walmart was trying to expand its uh, store in Chico. So the residents of the area were actually against the expansion with several reasons. And I thought that this would be good for me to use when I was actually putting together my spear phishing letter. So the next thing I did was, still in Martego, I went and did a social media search, which gave me the option to choose Twitter. And I had 12 hits, you see, and I could even get some information from Ryan Norris and all of that. You have to understand that this is actually a test. It's not. This is actually a free test, so I wouldn't get the exact information that I would when I paid for all of this. So you might not get the very accurate information, but at least we're getting something and we're getting the idea of what we're doing. So the next a slide here will show you a spear phishing email that I generated because or from the letter that I got from the cloud and the information I have about Ryan Norris. So I think that this spear phishing email will be successful because the letter that I got from the cloud talks about an expansion that the Walmart Corporation wants to do right there at its Chico location, and this was back in 2016. So a lot of back and forth might have gone through since that time, and I decided to send a spear phishing email to Mr. Ryan Norris, who of course is one of the C-suite members of Walmart, and telling him that, hey, you know what, I am an attorney, and I've talked to my clients who are the residents of the Chico area where you want to do your expansion, and they had their concerns, but have come to an agreement to settle with Walmart to do the expansion. And then I asked him to click on the link, which is click here to view the conditions of this agreement. So if you look at this email, I kept it really simple, tried not to have any grammatical errors, targeted Mr. Ryan, gave him my address, and gave him a reason to want to click on that link to see what it carries. So I hope he will be clicking on that, and this spear phishing will be successful. So let's just look about the consideration of legal authorities and ethics from a Christian perspective. So first of all, there's a story that I read that was written by Jackson in August of 2020 about two pen testers, Gary De Mercurio and Justin Wynn, who got arrested while carrying out a physical pen test at the Dallas County Courthouse in Iowa. So this is very interesting, because these guys literally had a get out of jail free letter. So they had an authorization that was signed by the judicial branch of the county that proved they were working on behalf, no, a judicial branch, sorry, that proved they were working on behalf of the state. But still, they got arrested and spent a night each in jail, and their bonds were set to $50,000 each. So I chose to put this excerpt just to show you how serious pen testing is and how serious you should take the legalities when engaging in any pen test. So there are several laws. Of course, there are federal laws, there are state laws, there are local laws that govern the access to computers and networks or other systems. But I chose to talk about the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1986, which basically says that before carrying out any pen test, the pen tester must have an authorization from the company that he or she is carrying out the pen test on. You must have an authorization. If you do not have an authorization, then you are carrying out an illegal act that might bring legal charges ranging from hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars, from 5 years in jail to maybe 20 years in jail. So you have to be careful. Another section is this: not only should you have an authorization, but you should also respect in which you have to carry out the pen test, so that in the authorization they have to let you know which computers or which part of the network system you can access and which you can't access. If you discover that your work will take you out of the scope, you have to stop and have a discussion with the company that you're doing the pen test for. Uh, just uh, uh, just an ethical practice. Uh, it is important to also know that just because a pen tester is authorized to test something, they still must act in the best interest of the client. That is just an ethical practice. So uh, it is not enough just to have the authorization, but you have to, act in the best interest of the client. And it is also uh, uh, so looking at this from a Christian perspective, sorry, I would like to quote Matthew 7 verse 12 in the New International Version of the Bible, which says, "Do unto others what you want them to do to you." And this is just simple. If you're carrying out a pen test, let's relate it to pen test, and you carry out a pen test and you get access to some sensitive information, you have to work with it as the authorization requires you to. For whatever reason, if you're tempted to do anything, think about what some other person would do if they got access to your personal information. So do unto others what you want them to do unto you. And lastly, I want to quote another verse, which is Titus 2, verse 7 of the New International Version of the Bible, which says, "Set an example of doing what is good and show integrity and seriousness." This, I think, is a blueprint for any pen tester. And the next slide will be just the references. This practice I carried out. This is a practical assignment. So most of the things I just went through, I discovered them by myself. I watched the video that was presented to for the course, and the rest, most of them, I just follow, did try things on Martego and try things on unseen frameworks, and so I do not have much resources. I hope you enjoy this and have a wonderful evening. Thank you.